my upbringing and how I was raised. And like I said, grew up on a dairy farm. And, my parents worked extremely hard, growing up on the farm. And, to be able to be a part of this group and be a part of this week is special. Like I said, just growing up on the farm, you learn, things by, hard work and discipline and sacrifice. And that really transitioned to football for me for sure. So, my parents kind of showed me the way, of working hard every day. And I, like I said, when we were kids, me and my sister, you thought everybody grew up that way. And you didn't realize that way of life is not for a lot of people. And like I said, I appreciate the sacrifice of my parents.
A lot of people talk about being farm strong. It certainly teaches you physical strength as well. How much of that was, just a good thing for you in your football career to be able to come from a background like that, farm strength, they say is real?
Yeah, for sure. Just because, when I was a kid, we were, pitching calf condos and mowing hay and doing like physical labor, which, a lot of kids, when you're younger, you probably just aren't exposed to that much. So, and always, as me as a football player, I was pretty strong in the weight room, but people always talked about I had that farm strength, that natural strength, that core strength. So that definitely, came from the farm and just being physically active every day, And I can remember my dad, milking the cows and just like, my dad had some guns back in the day, from him being a farmer. So it's physically demanding for sure.
Do you think the way your career evolved, your motivation for youngsters who maybe aren't highly recruited or to keep up the fight and you can make it?
Yes, 100%. Just because my path was, just not always, destined to be this, all-pro, veteran NFL player. I was a junior college transfer, so I had, a really long ways to go. So it just shows you that you can unlock a lot of potential inside you that you don't know you have at that, current time in your life. So as long as you have goals and you have, work ethic and you take it one day at a time, you just never know. Obviously, there's tons of guys where, say you make it to high school and that's it, or college and you had a good run and that's good too. But having that work ethic and that desire, you unlock, a lot of potential that, like I said, you just don't know you have. I didn't know when I was at junior college, I was just hoping to make it to Iowa and be a starter. And that was a heck of a battle to climb, right? And then to be able to transition to the NFL and have that much success, when you're in that battle, that day-to-day battle, you don't know you have that much in you. So it's a good reminder to kids to dream big, and you got to work extremely hard for what you want.
How much of that work on the farm helped you as you transitioned from being a pro football player and on a physical basis, because you probably lost, 60, 70 pounds?
About 65. Yeah, just like I said, you just football. It definitely correlates, so much just because you have to do the same thing over and over, and it doesn't get any easier. And football is so like that, whether you're playing games on the weekends or whether you're lifting weights in the off season, whether you're doing speed work or conditioning, it's just physically demanding. So you have to be mentally tough. And I feel like, when you're exposed to that at a younger age where you got to get after it, and this is maybe something you necessarily don't want to do, but you have to do, that makes you, mentally tough. And I feel like, that just kind of, paved the way for me to really take football and really run with it.
You miss football?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I do. But I also miss, I understand, what comes with it. And I just, at that point in time, I had 2 years. I got to play 2 years healthy, and I had been unhealthy at the end of my career. So I just knew that I was compound interest. I was due to get hurt if I played one more year. I'd never made it more than 3 years without having a major injury in the NFL. So I made it 18 and 19 injury free, and had a lot of fun my last year. And I was like, I want to end without any rehab, because rehab was life draining for me at the end with football. So, but I definitely miss Sundays. I miss the competitiveness in the air, like on Sunday mornings. Like you can't get that anywhere else.
What are some of the things you learned from Coach Ferentz and his staff that enabled you to go on and have such a successful career?
Yeah, there's two words that just come to my mind: preparation and focus. I would say those are just two things that you can carry that to, any part of the game. Everything around here is about preparation. The battle is won before it is fought. So, every Iowa football team that takes the field is prepared, and that starts with Coach Ferentz, just instilling in us every day, giving us examples, talking to us, just building you up, to prepare. And then obviously focus, focused on your job, focused on your assignments, focused on just your eating, focus on everything. So I would just say, he really paved the way, and the whole staff paved the way, just to set you up, to put you on those railroad tracks as far as if I prepare and if I focus, I maximize my potential, the sky's really the limit. And I definitely learned that here, right? Like JUCO, I was a really raw player. I had the physical attributes, but I was a very raw player. I didn't, technique and fundamentals and all that was really on the low end, and being prepared. So, coming from Iowa to from the rest of my journey, I just was really on an uphill every year. Every year I got a little bit better. I was still getting better in year 5 at the NFL. Year 6 I was still getting better, just because that's just the preparation that you have.
We were talking to Tyler Linderbaum today, and he was saying that what a great example it was to see you come in after more than a decade in the NFL and the continued work ethic that you had.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to still have been able to have that kind of impact well after your time here? And particularly when watching a guy like that, do you see him as somebody who can maybe follow in your footsteps and have a career like you did?
Yeah, it's awesome. I loved being back here in the off season. I loved spending time here because, you find out, football and in life, this is a big family. And when you go to battle together, you forge those bonds and those friendships. And I definitely forged those here. And to be able to come back, it's such a win-win for me to be back, because it was an edge for me. As an NFL player, the older you get, the less weights guys want to lift, the less back squats they want to do, and doing all that stuff back every year back here, even into my 30s, is what made me still play at a high level. So that was an edge for me, but obviously it was great. Yeah, it was great for the kids, the younger players, to see me still having this environment be a big impact for me, even continue to play. So they rehab me, rehab my shoulder surgeries, my knee surgeries. Like I said, it's a family here, and that's how the whole building is run. So any chance I got to be around here, I loved it. Like I said, it was a big edge.
What does it mean to you as an ex-Hawkeye to see what's happening this Saturday, a 3 versus 4 matchup, same coach you had?
Yeah.
How does it?
It's awesome. You're just happy for everybody in this building, right? They go to war every weekend, and they put their heart and souls into it, and they sacrifice a lot of time from their families, and everybody has this common goal, right? And to see them, on their way to achieving their goals and playing at a high level, it's awesome. That's exactly what, you're setting your goals, and you want to be successful and win, and you want to, you're happy for the players, the coaches, the sacrifice they made, and you're happy to see it paying off for them. And huge college great college atmosphere. Running out of Kinnick is it's amazing. And then obviously you amp up the rankings, and a really good team coming in, and we always play Penn State really hard. So that's it's exciting.
What are you doing these days? Do you have or are operating a farm? And
yeah, so right now I'm actually helping my dad on the farm right now. We were about, probably 8 straight days of harvesting. So last fall, I've helped my dad harvest the crops first time, which was great, spending time with my dad and being on the farm, and just, getting back some of that time where, come July in training camp, you're busy from July to January, so just didn't get a lot of time on the farm. So helping my dad on the farm, and then our kids, we got 3 kids, and, taking them to their sports and activities. And then also, we have a house and some land, and I really enjoy, being outdoors, and got a Bobcat skid loader and enjoy being out there and working in the Bobcat. So I enjoy, time outdoors, time with family and close friends. And then, still just figuring things out one day at a time. I'm still in, a pretty good transition of you just did everything, for so long, just in, every day's preparation, and even the off season, I thought about it all the time. Even, you were in the off season, you were rehabbing. I was thinking about playing, J.J. Watt or Aaron Donald, or you got a Dominican Sue, on the schedule. So it was always on my mind. So I'm still, transitioning from not having to think about that stuff all the time. But it's been awesome. I've had a really good transition so far.
It's difficult for a lot of, especially football players, to mentally transition. Whenever the end comes, you fall off the cliff. And have you spoken to, whether it's former teammates or friends, just about What was it like for you? How did you get past this? Because it gnaws at you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we actually met up with some guys down in Florida this off season, and some former players, and we talked about it for sure. Certain guys, how they deal with it, and how just how that's just part of the transition of the game. You can't do it forever, right? But I felt like I was always conscious of my ego and not letting my ego get too big. And I feel like the guys with the really big egos have a tough time, transitioning more than the guys that are prepared for it and ready for it and understand that, like, you're not any bigger than, the team, and sooner or later you can't do this forever. So, like I said, but it helps to talk with other players and if other guys that you're good, your friends and teammates that have been, if they need some help, it's good to be there for them.
Have you gotten to see much of this year's offensive line?
Yeah, I've been watching. Yeah, they've it's been awesome to watch. I watched the Maryland game, and it's the whole team is just firing on all cylinders. Right, defense is getting takeaways and and they're running the ball well. Making plays in the passing game, and obviously the offensive line is young, but man, they're playing well, and it's exciting for sure. Very exciting.
What advice would you give to this team, given your big game experience in the past, coming into this one, if you've had the chance to address them?
Yeah, the biggest thing is don't make this game any different than just another game on the schedule, right? Just everything is one day at a time, and we don't look ahead. We don't care who we play. Next week you just focus on your opponents one game at a time, and you just don't look too far in the future. Like everything is in the moment, right? Like it's all about like today, having a good practice today, having a good meeting today. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're eating well, fueling your body, right? Because your body, is what produces on game day. So but not overthinking it, right? Too many young players, get that in their head, and then they start, and then they maybe have more jitters than they normally should. But they prepare them here the right way, where they've been drilled that into them, and I still remember it getting drilled into me, where we take them one at a time, and we don't, we prepare and we don't worry about the opponent. We worry about us.
Are you thinking about coaching?
Yes, I do. Yep, I do. Because like I said, I love football, and I love just every aspect of the game. And but I'm still in that transition of just figuring it out, right? Just one day at a time. And it's also like time with my dad right now, time with my parents, time with my kids. I'm enjoying that time right now. So, but I do love football, and we'll just have to see how that goes. How that unfolds as time goes on.
You mentioned a couple guys. Is there one guy that stands out that you had to block throughout the years in the NFL who would you maybe say was the toughest?
Yeah, I get that. I would say back in the heyday, it was J.J. Watt. Back when he was Defensive Player of the Year, those back-to-back years, he was just wrecking the game. I mean, he had I think 80 quarterback hits in one season, which, everybody else had, the highest defensive player had, 22 quarterback hits, and J.J. Watt had 80 quarterback hits. So, I mean, going against him back in the day, and then I would say Aaron Donald for an interior lineman, he's at the top of the list the last couple of years, watching him on film, and he's a problem. Yeah.
So this past summer, Tristan Wirfs was back, and I asked him, I said, why are you coming back here to work out? And he said, because Marshal Yanda did it. And what does that mean to you that a kid like that is being influenced by you?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, you know what I mean? Just because, you're trying to do things the right way every single day, and you're trying to set the example that, it is a good path, and that success does come through hard work. And unfortunately, when you're in the NFL, the offseason, a lot of guys kind of take their foot off the gas, and they don't lift as hard, they don't run as hard, and then there's kind of a conflict of interest of, the strength coach may not, necessarily want to push you too hard because he doesn't want to get you hurt, and then all of a sudden, then his job's in trouble, right? So who's actually getting better in the offseason, the waters can get muddied in the NFL. But when you come back here, they treat you the same, they expect the same out of you, and I love that. I stretched with the young team and, out in the indoor, and you start and you don't get treated any different. That expectation is the Iowa way, is that, you do things 110%, you show up on time, you do your job. And I enjoyed that not being treated any different, right? And that's, being looked up to by the younger players, it's awesome for sure. And I looked up to those guys before me too, right? The guys that paved the way for me that were, successful, pro football players.
So did you have any, did you and JJ exchange any Iowa, Wisconsin?
Not really, no. We kind of exchanged, at one game, they were up, big time, and we were in 2-minute mode for 3 quarters, and he said that he was going to get a sack for sure, and we kind of had a little bit of fun going back and forth, and I told him he wasn't getting there that day, and there was some good battles for sure, but no Big Ten ties, yeah, at least no Big Ten talk, yeah.
What was it like with the kind of the brotherhood of Iowa players? I saw some pictures this weekend of guys, but just seeing fellow Hawkeyes after games in the NFL, and do you miss that?
Yeah, because I mean, every year in the NFL, the team and the rosters change so much. You don't have as much turnover in college, right? You get a guy for 5 years, and you can have that in the NFL, but it's just the change is more. So like, you just spend so much more time together in college, and you really build that brotherhood even more. And you're a younger player, and there's not like contracts involved and money involved, and worry about and cap problems and all that stuff. So you really get to bond that brotherhood, right? And everybody works so hard together every single day that like you're pulling for one another, right? It's just a great team environment, and you can see that stuff is so natural when you work so hard together and they do something great as a team. They're celebrating and they're just having the time of their lives because they work so hard. They put so much work in June and in February and all the weights and all that, paying off for them, because that's, you prepare all year round for those games. Then it's only, 60 minutes. So there's a lot that goes into it.
All right. Anything else?
Yep.